Our next speaker is Lindsay Winkenbach. She's a third-year PhD student in biochemistry and molecular biology. With her degree, she hopes to pursue a career in science policy and advocacy. And the title of her presentation today is "It's All in the Message: What Worms Are Teaching Us About Human Development."
So we all started out as a single fertilized egg and somehow developed into the complex creatures we are today. So after fertilization, the sperm and egg fuse together, but what's going on during those first few cell divisions that sets the stage for the rest of development? After a cell divides, what tells this cell to become a brain cell later on in development, or this cell to become a muscle cell? And it turns out we inherit a lot of messages from our mom in the egg, and where these messages are delivered is very important to tell a cell what to become. For example, this message in blue ends up on the cell on the left, and that tells it to become a brain cell later on. Or this pink message is delivered to the cell on the right, telling it to become a muscle cell. And when these messages are delivered properly, we have healthy offspring. But if the message doesn't make it to the correct cellular address, this can lead to severe developmental consequences and even the death of the embryo. So it's very important to understand what these messages are and how they're being delivered. But understanding this in humans and studying human embryos has a few ethical concerns. So to study this human embryonic development, we actually turn to the humble worm C. elegans. Now, this worm uses very similar machinery as humans during this early embryonic development, and they also pass messages from the mother to the embryo in a very similar way as well. So what we learn in the worm translates back to humans. So there's this very important message in green that I took. We use high-powered microscopy to understand what these messages are, where they're delivered, and what the consequences are of the misdelivery. So this important message in green, these dots, represent something that's going to tell the embryo to be an intestine later on. And if this message is delivered to the proper cellular address, then we have a healthy worm. And it turns out it's not only important that it ends up in the correct cell, but it's even more specific than that. It has to get the correct apartment number as well. And in this case, it would be along the cellular edge. But when this is misdelivered, this results in the death of the embryo. So the consequences can be very severe. And what we're learning in these early embryos applies to adults as well. So misdelivery of messages is seen in brain cells as well. And this can lead to severe and devastating diseases like Alzheimer's. So what I'm learning in this early embryo teaches us about the causes of developmental defects and whatnot, but it also teaches us about potential treatments for diseases like Alzheimer's. Thank you so much.